Formerly known as Paige in the WWE, Saraya made her return to wrestling in 2022 when she signed for All Elite Wrestling. And while Saraya's return to wrestling and debut with AEW was mostly celebrated at first, AEW fans have since grown to resent Saraya, with her becoming one of the most hated AEW wrestlers today. So why has this happened? What is the future of Saraya in AEW? We're going to talk about all that and more, so like the video and subscribe, and let's just get into it. We all know the story of Paige in WWE. She signed for the WWE in September 2011 at just 19 years old, becoming the inaugural NXT Women's Champion, and then winning the Divas title on her main roster debut in 2014, by which time she was still only 21. And after feuds with AJ Lee and Nikki Bella over the Divas title, which she was a two-time champion of, Paige's WWE career would hit a bit of a stump when she got caught up in drama and controversy outside of the ring, leading to suspensions and backstage heat, as well as being ruled out from mid-2016 to late 2017 after getting neck surgery. She'd return in 2017 November time alongside Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville as the Absolution stable, but just a month later at a live event, Paige suffered another major neck injury from a freak accident, and this would lead Paige to being forced into retirement, which she would announce for herself on the Raw after WrestleMania in April 2018 at the age of 25. She'd spend the rest of her WWE tenure in various roles such as SmackDown GM, manager, pre-show host, and more, but it was always well known that Paige wanted to be wrestling again. It's just that the WWE weren't gonna clear her. She'd do these roles for the next few years before her contract expired and she departed WWE in July of 2022. Then in September at AEW Grand Slam, she would make her debut for AEW, and now under the name of Saraya, it was announced that she was All Elite. She would start a feud with Britt Baker, and with that would come the announcement that Saraya would be making her return to the wrestling ring and was cleared back as a full-time wrestler once again. She would make her in-ring return facing Britt Baker and defeating her at Full Gear, and overall fans were mostly happy to see Saraya return back into in-ring action. Going into 2023 though, Saraya would turn heel alongside new ally Toni Storm as they would start attacking and showing their disdain for AEW's homegrown women's talent. She would challenge Jamie Hayter in a match for the women's title at Revolution that year in a three-way match that also involved Ruby Soho, but Jamie retained in this match, and Ruby Soho would then turn heel for herself and align with Saraya and Toni Storm. And just like that, the Outcasts were formed, and the Outcasts would continue to feud with the homegrown talent, namely Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, Sky Blue, and Willow Nightingale. And at Double or Nothing 2023, we'd see a match between Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter for the women's title, and in this match this time, Toni Storm would win the AEW Women's World Championship, bringing gold back to the Outcasts. Toni Storm would defend the title successfully against numerous challengers. Meanwhile, Ruby Soho was making it to the finals of the Owen Hart Cup, and Saraya throughout all this, well, I guess she had that mixed tag team match with Chris Jericho against Britt and Adam Cole. I don't know, Saraya really didn't do much during this period. Toni Storm would then lose the title to Hikaru Shida, and a match was set at All In for the women's title that year, as it was Hikaru Shida defending the belt against Britt Baker, Toni Storm, and Saraya. However, leading up to the match, cracks in the Outcast were beginning to show, specifically with Toni Storm, who looked to be on a new path as a solo act as she debuted a new Hollywood noir actress gimmick. And at All In, after Toni Storm accidentally took out Saraya's mother, Saraya attacked Toni Storm, and when Ruby Soho ran out, she was attacked by her Outcast teammates as well, seemingly ending the Outcasts. But amongst the chaos, Saraya would go on to win the match and win the AEW Women's title, as the Outcasts would continue on for a bit more after this, just without Toni Storm, who was now timeless, as Saraya's women's title reign lasted just a month and a half and wasn't very memorable in the end. Eventually, Harley Cameron would come into the fold and join the group herself to make for the third member, but the Outcasts were done for good after a weird Rampage storyline which saw them tampering with Ruby Soho's love life, leaving just Saraya and Harley Cameron. And they're still together as a duo to this day, and this last year has been pretty quiet for them though in the AEW women's division, as they've just more or less floated around the division. The most noise surrounding Saraya though seems to come from AEW fans, as Saraya has become resented by AEW fans and perhaps one of the most hated people in AEW today. But why is that, and why do you ask though? Well, in online and social media circles at least, many fans have grown to dislike Saraya due to the actions of her real-life partner. If you aren't aware, Saraya is dating Ronnie Radke, and if you don't know who Ronnie Radke is, he's a musician and lead singer of metalcore band Falling in Reverse, and he's been involved in many controversies himself, and in general is quite a controversial figure, and some of that is in part due to his past and present comments that he's made that have been labelled as bigoted and transphobic. Let's just say he's essentially the Austin Aries of metalcore. Do you get it now? And so AEW fans have grown to resent her due to the actions of Ronnie and the fact she's defended him numerous times, and that's the main reason she's hated. And other reasons, you know, they could include some people not being a fan of her work in AEW, and for the fact that in a way she's kind of the female equivalent of what Chris Jericho is to AEW and AEW fans. This past month though, rumors and reports went around that Saraya's AEW contract was expiring and was yet to be renewed. Saraya had a match with Jamie Hayter at Grand Slam which she lost, and many thought this would be her last match given the rumors, and the fact that she debuted at Grand Slam 2 years prior made it full circle and made it make sense, but alas, she would end up resigning with AEW and getting her contract renewed, much to the chagrin of many AEW fans. What the future holds for Saraya is uncertain. All we know is that at least a year of it or so is gonna be in AEW. Her partnership with Harley Cameron is still going to this day, but for me, even Harley Cameron has outgrew her. Harley Cameron is someone I've grown to be a fan of. I think she's super underrated, has very much improved, and really surprised a lot of people this last year, myself included, and I think her being away from Saraya would maybe be to her benefit. They are both set to appear on Wrestle Dream, which is tonight as I'm recording this, as Harley Cameron is facing Anna Jay on the 0 hour, and I assume Anna Jay is going to win that match, so where Saraya and Harley go from there is going to be interesting to see. Regardless, what we do know is that Saraya is here to stay, whether that upsets AEW fans or not. The thing is though, I just can't see Saraya going much further than where she's at now, which is why I'm kind of surprised that she was renewed. Like, what's to actually do with her in AEW? She most certainly isn't reaching the heights of the AEW Women's title anytime soon again, and unless they just keep this alliance with her and Harley Cameron going as long as possible, I really have no idea what Saraya is going to do in AEW other than just floating around on the roster like she's been kind of doing for a year now. And as the AEW Women's division keeps expanding, I just can't see where she's going to fit in, and obviously due to her past injuries and things like that, she's nowhere near the worker she used to be, and like I said, with more women coming in, that is especially being more apparent. And so while she's a decent promo, she is nowhere near one of the best workers in the division. Anyway, that's it from me for this video on Saraya in AEW. I truly have no idea what AEW are going to do with Saraya and what her booking is going to look like now her contract has been renewed and she's going to stay around for at least a little bit longer, but time will tell. It's always a mystery. This is wrestling, baby. That's what it's all about. Who knows, maybe she's the one to beat Mercedes Moné for the TBS title or some bullshit like that. Like the video if you did enjoy, subscribe for more wrestling content. I'll see you all in the next video from myself, Tom. Goodbye and keep on rolling.